We're here, this is a kind of, there's a reason we're here, Libby. And probably, although it's really peaceful and quiet at night, and maybe there's a reason for that, and a reason why we came here.
It's weird how we've just travelled up the road and it's been pouring with rain, and now we're here, and it's generally just like, apart from the clouds, it's like the night that I was here. That's how calm it was. Which I always think's kind of maybe half the reason why I did think that this was the right place. I don't know, because it is calm and everything else is like kind of madness out with. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that's just like how we've travelled up tonight, is that it's pouring with rain, but yet when we get here, you wouldn't think it was the same weather. I don't know. Very, very strange.
Yeah. And so we know why we've came here tonight, right? Mm-hmm. But what would have brought you here the last time? Why did you end up here? Or how did you end up here? Can you remember much about it?
No, obviously just what I've spoke about before, the build up to it, and that was the final night. But as I was saying to you earlier, I don't think when I left the house I knew I was going to end my life, but I don't think I'd really thought through how properly. I know that's something maybe it's probably not a good thing to talk about, but I know that the loch was going to be involved in some way, but I still don't think when I arrived that I'd thought it through properly. It wasn't until I was here, and it was so peaceful. It just seemed that was just the best thing to do, was just to kind of, just was really, really calm. I mean, it is weird being back here, I'm not going to lie. It's, as I say, I live beside the loch, I go up to Balmaha all the time, and it's just part of what we do as a family, and I've spent years and years on the loch, but this here is completely different, and it's very surreal being back and thinking that I was out there somewhere, and 4 years on, life has turned around completely. And it's what I would have missed if I'd not had that phone call.
How do you feel thinking of that? Obviously we're sitting here now, and like there's probably a difference between when you just reflect or think back about when that happened, but when you're actually here, does it feel different?
It just feels weird. I can't explain how it feels. I think it explains an awful lot of emotions that I've had over the last few months. And I think with Kirsty getting married, with Jack turning 18, I've been really, really emotional about it. I mean, I am quite an emotional person anyway, but the build up to Kirsty's wedding was just, and even now, like if Kirsty talks about it or if I see a picture, I get really, really teary, like really teary, and
because you think what you might have missed out on, is that for that point of view?
I mean, I might not have been at my daughter's wedding, and I remember on the day of the wedding being really, really upset and thinking, and Kirsty saying, "Mum, why are you getting so upset? Like, why? Like, this is a day to be happy," and I was happy. But every time I looked at her and sitting at the top table and thinking that I nearly gave all this away, and I kept thinking and put myself in a situation of Kirsty and thinking, what would she have went through with this type of wedding? What would be getting, like, would they have missed me? Stupid things. So it made the day even harder, but not harder, that's not the right word. More emotional.
Yeah.
Like, I was really, really emotional. But so glad that I was there. And I think it was maybe emotional for other people, like my dad and stuff, because they were probably thinking the same thing of, this could have been a whole lot different.
Totally different.
And then Jack was 18 2 weeks after Kirsty's wedding, and I was kind of saying for his 18th, just really thinking how selfish I would have been to not have been.
Thinking back now,
Yeah,
you can say that, but obviously at the time that wasn't.
No, not at the time. That's not. That wasn't even in any of my thoughts. I hate to say it. The kids were in my thoughts, but they were in the thoughts of they were better off without me.
Yeah.
But now that I've gone through everything with Kirsty's wedding, and even lots of different things. I mean, there's been loads of things, but the wedding's been a big thing, and just seeing how much she needs a mum, and how much, no matter what I think of myself, she would have lost out not having a mum by her side. And same with Jack. So yeah, a lot of mixed emotions tonight, I'm not going to lie, but also not doom and gloom, because I don't want to be sad about it, I don't want to be morbid about it, but I think what I hope people kind of take from this is that at that point when you're really, really low and you think that's the only way out, it's not. 4 years down the line, and I mean, God, look what's happening now with what we're doing. So yeah, it's nice to be back in a weird way. It's but I mean, I've been back once since it happened, and it was very, very close to when it happened, and it was more of a, when I had horses, you fell off the horse and Dad put me back on, and it was that kind of like, if I need to go and be there, but I mean, I can't really remember coming back, to be honest. So this is the kind of time I've actually been right down at the water. But yeah, so.
Well, the thing is, I mean, it's not as if coming back is going to always be, it's certainly not going to be a fond memory for you, is it? But what I think is good is that you can now, and I'm not saying, God, we don't want anybody to go through that, but you can now look back with an appreciation of how you felt then, and realise, as you said, with Kirsty's wedding, with Jack's 18th, how that maybe small part of your life when you didn't, or you didn't see things
clearly.
Yeah. You look back at it now and realise that was just that small wee part, and people, you are appreciate it, and you must be so glad that things turned out the way they have.
I know, 100%. I mean. And I think it also shows that talking helps, like speaking out to somebody helps. Because I would never have thought of coming back and speaking about this had it not been just. I think last Sunday with the charity match was my realisation of what we are doing as a charity after seeing that video, because I didn't know what was going to get asked of the guys in the video. And then when you're looking at the pitch and the boys playing, about 80% of our team is all young boys or men that either were going to take their life or had thought about it. So the fact that no matter all the numbers that we've have supported, just seeing that on Sunday and hearing what they had to say was a bit of a kind of wake-up call to actually, we have achieved so much. And if I had follow through with that on the night, that wouldn't be the case today.
Exactly.
So it's a bit kind of.
Did you think? So see after that night, going back 4 years, how soon after that did that become from maybe a thought for you to actually putting into action, starting up Back Onside?
Well, it had kind of started as a programme then already, but then it was probably about 3 months before I actually did apply for it to be a charity and really kind of get into it. But I would say it was a good year. I mean, 2018 for me, so this happened in 2017, but then 2018, I still didn't have any confidence. Like I was just going through the motions of doing what I thought I had to do. So when I look back now, I would say it was more 2019 onwards that we really, I really appreciated what I was trying to do and understood. And probably took a year for me to kind of clear my head properly and get things a lot clearer for me, and to get my position to get in a kind of better place, just everything financially and dealing with because bear in mind I hadn't told anybody. I told a couple of people and the response I got from them wasn't great, so that knocked me back even more, because I thought I can't tell anybody. Obviously the people the initial player and another player up here that were the core helping me, they knew, but even they didn't understand, or I hadn't told them exactly what had caused it. I was telling the counsellor, obviously.
Yeah.
So I would say it would take a full year for me to accept in my head what I'd tried to do. And then I was still constantly fighting with, I feel I should be telling people, as in my family, what I've went through. So, but yeah, 2019, the charity just kind of took off. And then last year, absolutely unbelievable. And then this year, I'm scared to put out our figures at the end of the year, to be honest.
Yeah.
But in a good way. I mean, we're really, really busy, and people say, oh, that's really sad that you're so busy. But actually, it's a positive, because people are obviously talking and opening up.
Looking for help, yeah.
So, exactly, the dog even thinks so. So yeah.
And I think you're absolutely right. And like, I always think I think people don't quite understand it, and I don't expect everybody to understand if they've never been in that position, what it can be like. Because obviously I think that's a massive thing for you, having the charity, but knowing that you've been in that position. So although it maybe took you a bit of time to clear your own head and deal with what was going on with you yourself, do you not think that makes such a difference to somebody that's maybe lived through that experience and then brings that to the charity?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's different, everybody's circumstances are different.
Right.
I mean, mine I'd never ever thought about suicide ever beforehand. I think everybody has low days, and you think kind of, we're better off not being here, but that's not suicidal thoughts. So I didn't have any feelings about that until the nights. But then you'll get people that live with suicide thoughts every day, constantly. And I can't even imagine what that's like. What I can do is empathise with people that have been a bit like me, or have lost somebody just out the blue, because mine was like a light switch moment. It literally was. So I do believe that some people have those moments where life just gets too much for them, and something just goes. Your brain just switches. So it makes it a bit easier that way. But I mean, to be honest, whenever I speak to MD, I don't really tell them. It's not my place to tell them, oh, I've been there before, because it's different.
No.
But if an opportunity comes where I think that my story might help that person, then yes, I'll talk about it. But then I forgot what you asked me.
Well, I just think more so for a standpoint that you understand, can empathise with people, because I think I'll tell you actually, like, somebody was speaking to me about suicide and mental health just last week, and one of the words that they used was sort of cowardly, which I think is like really misconstrued, because you've said it yourself that at that point in time, maybe looking back on it, and you think what your daughter and your son might have missed out on if you weren't here. Yeah. Seems as if you're taking a road out, and it was maybe a selfish was the other word. But at that point in time, your frame of mind is that you're doing the right thing for them. Yeah, I look back now and think how selfish I was, but at the time, I felt I was selfish by even being alive, because I was causing everybody such a burden. But when I look back on it now, I wasn't really, because nobody knew what was going on for me to cause them a burden. But in my head, it was saying that you're just a burden being here. Like you're not bringing anything to the table. You're not supporting the kids the way you should be supporting them. And because of that situation, that night that I found myself in, when I was looking at the bank account, there's 22 pence in the bank, and I was thinking, going forward, I'm definitely not bringing. I can't support my kids. I can't even support myself. So I felt that I was a burden, and I was being selfish by being alive. Whereas now, and I look back, I think, I mean, people say to me, don't think you're selfish, but I do. I think. So I understand why people as well that are left behind go through anger and get upset with people. But I get that. But at the time, that person, or my own experience, that's the last thing they're thinking is they're thinking they're selfish for being alive. So I can empathise when I'm speaking to people that
are saying these things to me that I was thinking that night, I kind of can help, I hope I can help them by explaining that that's a temporary thought at that time. That's not how people are going to be thinking if you're not here. And I think that's why good when we speak to, like when we work with different people like Lizzie Stewart and things who have opened up, seen the other side of what's been left behind. I mean, I struggled for a while to speak to people that had been left, members been left, because a lot of them were angry or couldn't understand. So I think that's probably why I didn't even tell my story for a long time, is because I was thinking, well, is that what people will think of me if I say that I tried it? But no, I mean, last year when I did tell my story, I did make myself really vulnerable, and I came off social media. Well, I didn't come off it, but I didn't go on it to see what. Once the video up, I didn't really watch anything on social media for a good few days. But it definitely helped a lot of people, and I had a lot of messages saying from families that had either lost people or were living, like had partners or daughters or sons, whatever, that were kind of expressing the same kind of feelings, that they could understand a wee bit more of why they maybe wouldn't open up to them. Because that was my biggest thing, where my brother said to me after watching it, and I'm going to get upset because...
You're all right.
And I don't even know if he's watched it all. He just said that he could only watch a few minutes of it. But he's like, why didn't you talk to me? And I remember saying to him, well, if you watch the video, you'll understand why I couldn't talk to you, because I was trying to protect everybody, because I just... Yeah, I don't know. It's really hard to explain. I don't think there is an explanation, to be honest. I just know that...
No, I guess not everything needs to be explained, but I think just understanding it is the key. And as you said, like having been in that position and being... that's why I think really matters when it comes to like issues around suicide and mental health, is like if you've been there, or if you've been in a position where you can understand both sides of it.
Yeah.
Then sometimes that's just what people need. They maybe just need, as I say, maybe not quite an explanation, but just a bit of understanding and just a bit of thinking for both sides of it. And like you sharing your story last year and doing this again, I think just is so invaluable. And you said, I think it made you kind of vulnerable, but at the same time it shows what strength you've got to be able to come through it, and what you've done since then.
I know.
I think it shows massive strength. And it's a help for others, massively.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think that's where Back Onside comes in. It's that kind of family member that you can't speak to. So now you have... Because it is really hard, even now, like, if I have I mean, everybody has bad days. I still have bad days. I've never ever... Last year, I went through a relationship breakup, and I definitely felt that kind of... I don't even know how to explain it. Just worthlessness. He'd made me feel that way, and it went back to how I felt that period of time. But because I now have that group of friends that spot the signs with me, so if I stop being active on social media, if I'm quiet on my messages, or just generally just kind of disappear, that's all signs for them, and they all kind of pursue me a bit, or they'll just turn up at the door. And that's what happened last year. My friends spotted the signs that something wasn't right, and straight away I could talk to them and not feel embarrassed. And I think that's because it's the right people around me, and also I had to put myself in a situation and made myself vulnerable that I could speak about it. But to now have bad days, and there is bad days, and nobody's going to... Everybody has mental health, as we've talked about.
Yeah.
So when you have a bad day, if you've already struggled, I think your mental health does go a bit kind of down. I still probably wouldn't go and phone my mum or dad, because they would worry, because they would automatically think, oh, is she going to go back to the way she was, and something going to happen? Because I went through a wee bit of last year when obviously I had that relationship breakdown. Kirsty went into kind of protective daughter mode, and was texting all the time, and I knew she was worried, so I did have to again put that brave face on for family, because I didn't want them thinking that I was going to be sitting back here in this situation again, because I'll never say never. I'd like to think that'll never ever happen. But it won't ever happen again, because I have got the right tools in place. I have got the right friends in place. And yeah, so it is hard for people to go and speak to family members or even close friends. It's the fear of what are people going to think. And I know that because the amount of people that speak to us, and the first thing they say is like, I'm so embarrassed. So having Back Onside, that nobody's judging them, and also that people know, and that's again why I put my story out, is so that people knew that I'd kind of been through that situation.
Yeah.
So they'll talk to us a lot easier. Yeah, it makes it like, I think it is that family member for people that can't speak to their family.
It's important. I always think an important message, and something that obviously through Back Onside is about checking on people.
Yeah.
And like you said, like, maybe people want somebody to ask them, and they don't want to put that out there. So that's a really important message about recognising signs, people's changing behaviour. And I think for most people that might not go through poor mental health of their own, or maybe have a mental illness that they might struggle with, but having that awareness of recognising the signs of somebody else is very important, and asking the question, because it was you that said about the don't just ask once, always ask twice. Do you know what I mean? Or 3 times, as many times it takes for them to.
And if you have got a gut feeling that something's not right, if somebody is normally really chatty on messages, or if you speak to somebody every couple of days and all of a sudden they disappear, or they're not as chatty, then follow it up, and don't take that one, no, I'm fine, because they're obviously quiet for a reason.
Yeah.
And I mean, 9 times out of 10 it might just generally be they're busy or whatever, but if your gut's saying that something's not quite right, then follow through with it. And if you can't, then that's where we come in, like contact us and let us do that part of things, because guaranteed if somebody, and we get a lot of people do it, will say, my friend's struggling but I don't know what to do, we'll give them the number, and they'll automatically say to us if they are, whereas they probably wouldn't to their friend if their friend had asked them, or their family member. So yeah, no, really proud of what we've achieved so far in 4 years. Well, really it's just 3, because the first year was kind of written off with me not being in the right headspace, but yeah.
But that's a start-up year as well, isn't it? That's you just trying to
these midges are absolutely murder.
Aye, they're pretty bad.
Yeah.
But no, I think you should be mega proud of everything that you've done, Libby. To think 4 years ago you were in there, and now look at you here with what you've achieved and I think it's amazing. Amazing.
I know.
Do you feel proud?
No, I do. I felt proud last Sunday. Probably one of the first moments where I really thought, watching that video back, I was really emotional watching it.
With interviews? Yeah.
And just seeing how everybody kind of came together, and what it should be when most of these boys were struggling, but they were all together and chatting, and they were all there for the one purpose. So yeah, no, I'm proud. Just a shame what happened to get there in the first place.
I know.
But if we can help one more person by this going out tonight, I think my point really tonight is that this doesn't have to happen. This isn't the answer. Like, we shouldn't be sitting here talking about what nearly happened. And I suppose sometimes I do think, what if that call hadn't happened and I wasn't here? What would the kids be doing? Like 4 years, like today, or tomorrow, getting ready for the anniversary of it.
Yeah.
And I think if you are feeling like that, just take a moment. I know it's hard. I know it's very hard to take a moment, because I couldn't have thought that on the night. But that's what we're here. Like come and talk to us, and let us kind of explain to you and reason with you that this is not the answer. So yeah.
But we are here, and we're thankful for that.
And it's very peaceful.
It is.